Leaf fans, wake up. I just can't get over the atmosphere game after game for the Leafs. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Player to Be Named Later. I'm G-Man. It's been a few weeks. I was sick. I was really down and out. Unfortunately, it came at a really busy time in sports with the Super Bowl, trade deadline in the NBA, the Four Nations hockey. But I'm glad to be back. Hopefully, you'll spread the word, keep watching, get my followers up. I'm building organically. I've never bought followers on social media. I never will. This is all organic. So spread the word, help me out. I'm a sports addict and diehard, and I'm here to just talk all kinds of sports and gonna get back into some hockey. I just dropped a video that mainly went into basketball, but it started off with the Four Nations. Shout out obviously to Canada for winning the Four Nations over America. Well deserved. I loved how all the Maple Leafs looked in the tournament. Willie unfortunately didn't have too much of an opportunity to really showcase how well he's been playing this year. But playing on Sweden, I got obviously Austin did his thing with America. Everyone's going to talk about how he didn't score, but he captained that team to the final against Canada. And Mitch Marner, last but not least, thought he had a Mitch Marner type tournament. He showed up obviously at some times, and at times he was kind of finding his way. Scored the winner against Sweden, set up the tournament winner against America. Overall, I thought he had a really good tournament, and I think that hopefully bodes well for him, going into the playoffs. I still think Austin's trying to find his way this season, and not terms of, he's been playing hurt, yeah, but I think becoming a captain of probably the most popular franchise in the league, Toronto, has mentally it's not that easy to a role to take on in terms of media. The spotlight is already on him being the best player on the team, being arguably the best goal scorer in the league, and him being injured hasn't really helped him get through that too much. But he's a warrior. He's gonna find his way, and he really had his chances in overtime to win that game for America. As a Leaf fan, that's you just want him to be in the best position. As a Canadian, obviously I loved it. I thought Jordan Binnington came up huge in the final. He's a Stanley Cup winner. He knows how to win. He came up big in big games before, and I think that's why John Cooper stuck with him. Obviously, gave him that opportunity. Never went to Aiden Hill or Sam Montembeault. He really stuck by his guns with Jordan Binnington and proved to be the right decision. That's why John Cooper is one of, if not the best coach in the NHL. So you have to give him a lot of credit. But back to the Leafs. I really like obviously how they've looked coming out of the Four Nations, winning their first two games back. First against Carolina, they just were shot out of a cannon, 4-0 in the first period. They looked really good. Even more impressive is the secondary scoring. It wasn't the top six. It was it was all the bottom six guys who were getting in on the act. And then against Chicago last night, same thing. Nick Robertson and Max Domi had obviously a good game together. I don't know why they just don't keep them as the third line, as the main guys on the third line. I think Berube should stick with them too. Maybe add Bobby McMahon to that mix. Who knows? Maybe Alex Steves is going to end up staying. He's looked really good in both games since the Four Nations. One thing I wanted to say was the atmosphere at Scotiabank on Saturday. I mean, Canada wins the Four Nations. The Leafs come back rocking, score 4 in the first, and it's dead quiet in there. And I just can't get over the atmosphere game after game for the Leafs. Now, I know this whole thing with fans, and they're not really ready to, give it up for the Leafs every game until the playoffs get here. And in the playoffs, granted, the atmosphere definitely ramps up. But then you get games like Saturday where they jump out to that huge lead, and suddenly all of a sudden in the third period it's 4-3. And I remember a time when there were Leaf games, whether it was Maple Leaf Gardens or the early years of the ACC, where you score 4 goals on the opposition and the fans really used to get on the goalie or the team. They score a few goals, the goalie makes a save, and everyone's, laughing at the goalie or giving him the Bronx cheer. Where's that gone? It's so disappointing to see the atmosphere at Scotiabank and the way it is. Like, I remember the one play with Willie setting up John Tavares. I think it was for the 4th goal. He absolutely undressed the Carolina player with some nice edge work, was, kind of skating towards the blue line, back towards the blue line while he was in the offensive zone, and just on a dime, just turned it back and rushed towards the net. And it was dead quiet. There was no, ooh, oh, like, Leaf fans, wake up. Like, I don't know what to say about you guys you fans who watch Leaf games, who just go there and sit there like they're watching a movie. Like, aren't you guys there to cheer, or are you just there to make deals and be on your cell phone all night and just be there because that's the thing to do on a Saturday night? The Leafs need some kind of atmosphere. The players have talked about it themselves. You have a team that's second in the conference, and yes, I know, I've been a fan for decades. I know what's been happening, literally since the 80s, but especially in the last 8 years with the playoffs. Yes, I know that. But that doesn't mean you don't have to cheer, you don't have to make noise, you don't have to give these guys some fuel. They, like, sometimes they just look sad playing at the Scotiabank. So get some fans in there. If you have tickets to a Leaf game, whether you're a corporate suit, whether you're a longtime Leaf fan, I don't know, but give your tickets to fans who want to make noise for their team. Like, it's just, I look at the Raptors. The Raptors have 18 wins this year. But last night against the Suns, that place was loud. And that's because of how much heart they show and how they play. And you can't tell me the Leafs aren't a different team between this year and last year. I know everyone's going to, again, talk about the playoffs. Talk to me about the Leafs win the playoffs. But Berube has them playing a different brand of hockey this year. It's very obvious. And I think the Leaf fans need to wake up and understand and realize that this team needs that juice at home. They go on the road, they go into arenas in Edmonton and Winnipeg, even in the States, in Buffalo, and even if they go to, other big markets, there's Leaf fans making so much noise. And, just to listen to how quiet it was at Scotiabank on Saturday, I almost didn't want to watch after, even before scoring the 4 goals. The first 5 minutes, I'm like, what's going on here? I mean, it's just absolutely disgusting. So hopefully that changes as the Leafs get closer to the playoffs. They're second in the conference right now, with Washington running away basically with the conference. You have to give them a lot of credit for how they're playing. Alexander Ovechkin looks like he's going to break Wayne Gretzky's all-time goals record. And for a time, I kind of was like, oh, man. But you know what? Wayne Gretzky, you're a huge disappointment, man. For how you support Donald Trump, and I'm not here to say that you can't support who you want to support. You can't be friends who you want to be friends with. But to be friends with someone who is openly disrespecting your home country, calling it the 51st state, and calling our prime minister a governor, that is straight disrespect. And I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it. I was a Gretzky fan my whole life, and I think it's absolutely disgusting that he just sits back, doesn't say anything, and it is what it is. I'm so happy Mario Lemieux was honorary captain and the person they walked out in Montreal. but it was kind of unfortunate that it was Wayne Gretzky in the final because he didn't even wear a Canadian jersey. He came out through the American bench. He was actually openly saying hi and praising all the American players as he walked by them. You know, Alexander Ovechkin, here's to you, man. I hope you break the record this year. Back to the Leafs. Looks like they're now number one in the Atlantic, ahead of Florida. Who knows what's going on with Matthew Tkachuk and his injury. So that's something to keep track of with Florida. But I think it would be a big thing for the Leafs to win the Atlantic, take control of that division, bring it home. But I think a lot also, like I said, fans, you know, you guys need to get off your ass. Stop sitting on your hands at games. Shout, give them energy, give them juice. That's what this team needs. Their goalie tandem has been absolutely great for them all season. Do they still need a couple of additions? Absolutely. They need a third line center. They need one more defenseman in my estimation. Personally, I don't think Connor Timmins is it. I think actually I like Philip Myers better than Connor Timmins, but they need one more defenseman to add to that, you know, the top six and push someone down. But that's just my opinion. But overall, I think the team looks really good heading into the playoffs. They have balanced scoring in the top six, and then you add Bobby McMahon and if Max Domi and Nick Robertson can just stay consistent, then they look really good heading into the playoffs. I think the fourth line with Steven Lorentz and Dave Kemp actually look good with whoever is going to be added to that fourth line. I love Ryan Reeves, but I think the pace of the game when it gets to the playoffs, I think he might have played himself out of being that fourth line guy. As much as I like Ryan Reeves and wish he still had his legs, because if he could skate, and it's just that, because his skill will always be there. I think the guy has amazing skill. He's an amazing leader. I think he's good for that team in the dressing room. It's just skating, Ryan. I wish that was a little bit different, but he's been in the NHL for a long time and has had a great career, but we might need to see someone else on the fourth line come playoff time.